You can't really tell from here, but right over there, beyond that tree line, is a little creek called Wine Creek. And on August 10th, 1756, and the French force led by General Montcalm landed there in the morning and then camped up there on St. Paul's Cathedral, or cemetery rather, on that hill. Unfortunately, we can't get any closer because the land is private property and is unaccessible, or rather inaccessible to pedestrians. So unfortunately, this is about as close as I can get to it. Now, the good thing about this position for the French landing spot is that they were pretty much protected, or very well protected, by not only the forest over here close by, but also the natural cliff that where St. Paul's Cemetery is. So because of that cliff and the natural forest surrounding the landing site, the French army was very well protected, and they were able to get the notion of surprise. And the British, who were in the Fort Ontario at that point, had no idea the French had landed and were attacking until the army actually got very close to the fort. So it was a very good planning, very good position for the French army during the 1756 campaign against Fort Ontario. I'm here in St. Paul's Cemetery in Oswego, New York, and this place holds a very special part in history. In 1756, the French army landed right over there in a bay just beyond that forest area and camped here in this cemetery. Well, in this field that at that point was not a cemetery, on the night of August 10th, 1756. Here with a force of about 3,000 soldiers, General Montcalm and his army rested and camped for the night until the next morning when they started their journey and trek and attack against Fort Ontario, which is just over beyond this forest area here, on a cliffside overlooking the lake. This is Lake Ontario, with Canada far beyond the horizon in northern New York, and St. Lawrence River all the way up that way. Now, the interesting thing about either this cemetery, or at least in part, Montcalm's attack on Fort Ontario, is that sources claim that he built a cross signifying his, spoiler alert, his victory at Fort Ontario. Now, those same sources claim that he built it at on the cliff up by the fort, and then when the British took over back in 1759, 1760, they ended up moving the cross. Now, I've been here several times, and there's a little cemetery up near the fort, which I will go to next, and I've never seen such a cross. So I don't know if it's up there and I'm just missing it, or if the cemetery that the British relocated the cross to is in fact this cemetery here, because it would make sense, partly because one source claims that before disembarking, or in this case embarking, back to his ships to go back to Canada, Montcalm erected a cross to signify his victory. So it would make sense for the cross to be somewhere over in this cemetery here, or at least down near where his army landed on August 10th, 1756, because that would be the point where he would have to disembark his army and then re-embark them to get back on their ships to go back to Canada. So I don't know, I'll keep having a look around, see if I can find anything. If not, well then, yeah, I guess you won't see it. But if I do end up finding something, I will be sure to record it and describe sort of where it is. There is a cross all the way, you can't really see it from here, excuse me, but there is a cross in the cemetery, and it's a very large stone cross, but it is a gravestone for a certain reverend of Oswego, so I highly doubt that that is the cross that people are referencing in their sources. So I will look around. If I find it, I'll let you know. If not, well then, the mystery is on, I suppose.